All right, let's learn.
Hayom Kotzav Amalocha Meruba.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy the chillin'.
You're in Florida?
So I'm actually back in New York. I did want to come tonight, but I just spoke to my mom. She said it's a little cold, so stay home and learn on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, just letting you know. But yeah,
Well, should we put aside a plate of cholent for you?
I miss the food there too. I mean, if you're really seriously able to do that, I don't know. What's the story there? You
Fine.
can. I'll be there Sunday. Maybe I'll pick it up Sunday morning.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, look forward.
Amen.
Amen.
We're holding Amen. The Perek Vav. But the truth is, we need to finish off 3 lines in Perek Hey. We were holding the brackets, the last 3 lines of Perek Hey, the brackets.
What page?
Page 190. Last week we spoke about the Perek Hey, the story of the cliffhanger. What's the cliffhanger? The Alter Rebbe, to him, this is a very important piece, the cliffhanger. If you see a man is hanging from the top of the Twin Towers, what was the name of that French guy that was, walked back and forth in the Twin Towers?
Well,
You see a man dangling the Grand Canyon, and he looks like a speck up there. He's wearing a harness, and there's a rope, and he's tied up. As I mentioned, we spoke about this last week, the person is going to take a knife and he's going to cut the rope. What's going to happen? He'll go flying.
yeah.
And on impact, he'll turn into a pancake. Safir, just because he accidentally miscalculated and he took a knife and he cut the rope that he goes flying. I mean, it's disproportionate, right? He was hanging from a rope, and that was his life force. If he cut it, that's it. The Alter Rebbe said that the neshama is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and as long as the Yud Kei Vav Kei is connected, the Jew is alive. If a person disconnects the rope, that's why in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, they couldn't physically live past 50 or 60 years. Just like this guy goes flying, dead man walking. He can't live further. When it'll hit the ground, he's going to die. Same thing. This person, the neshama has a rope that's holding him up, and the rope has 613 strings. So he could cut one here, cut one there, and that compromises the rope. It might snap, it might not. But if he did an oven which is called as a misabide shamayim, that means he cut it completely. Now, he could live up to 50, 60, but beyond that, it's not possible to live. That was the Nakuda Perek.
We see
the Shaim. That's what we're going to do Perek Vav today. So, the Alter Rebbe says, in the beginning of this page, in the second line, nothing could be a chetzitza between person and Hashem. Pasuk says, the heaven and the earth I fill. Second pasuk is a molecule. The glory of Hashem fills the whole world. Third thing is the Chazal say, there's no space vacant from him, as the pasuk says. And the fourth thing is the Zohar says, as the pasuk says in Yishayim, it's your sin. It's that why? Because the it's against the Eibish's Rotzen, and the Eibish's Rotzen is the Koitze Shal Yud. And now that he disconnected the Koitze Shal Yud, so there's no energy going into the Yud and the Vavei, and that's the Inyan of Kodesh. The Rebbe asks a question. I don't understand. Person learned Tanya. How many chapters are in Tanya?
2. 53.
53. How many days did the Alter Rebbe sit in jail?
53.
53.
I Silver said this when I was in.
Oh, yeah? Okay. No. So 53 days the Alter Rebbe sat in jail, counting the 53 Perokim. Shari Yichud V'Emuna has how many? 12 Perokim. The Alter Rebbe in Perek Memtes and Tanya says the Eibishter fills the whole world. When they say the Eibishter Seiv V'Makim, it doesn't mean B'chinas Malkum that the Eibishter has a helicopter or a drone and he goes around and around and around. The Eibishter is in the whole world, it's Chayes of everything. The Eibishter is everywhere. In Perek Zayin Shei Yichud V'Emuna, the Alter Rebbe says Tzimtzum is not Kipshute. The Chassidim used to always talk to the Misnagdim that Misnagdim said, how could he say the Eibishter is in the bathroom? It's not covered for the Eibishter. He has to say Tzimtzum Kipshute. So the Chassid said, right? So the Chassid said, so how does if a guy's will do a crime in the bathroom, so there's immunity in the bathroom, you can do every crime in the bathroom you like. The Eibishter doesn't know what's going on in the bathroom. Say, no. He could see from the outside. Oh, you mean he's peeking through the cracks into the bathroom? It's not nice to say that about the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's not nice. Huh? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's not nice to say that about the Rebbeinu Shalom. Elamai, the Eibush is everywhere. And the Tzimtzum is Einik Pshutik, whatever that means. We're learning Tanya, Perek Zayin, Shari Yichud V'Emuna. So by now, that the Eibush is everywhere. If you learn Tanya, 53 chapters, and then the 12 chapters in Shari Yichud V'Emuna, and you didn't get the memo, then here in Perek Hey, it's not going to help to tell a person again. And bring noch 2 psukim, 2 Ma'abarei Chazal, another pasuk. What's going on over here? Alter Rebbe is bringing forward, like what is going on? There was a shliach that was helping his wife. I told the story 2 weeks ago, but I'm just telling you the kids again. It's relevant to what we're talking about now. Shliach was helping his wife chop cucumbers at Rosh Hashanah. We're going to have 100 guests in the Chabad. Unfortunately, he cut himself badly. He ran to the hospital. They put out 7 stitches. It healed. Baruch Hashem. 2 weeks later, he realizes there's no sensation in his fingers. So he runs back to the hospital. They took X-rays, and they confirmed that he had cut a vein and 2 nerves. Mm-hmm. And they said it was already healed, and there's nothing could be done now. So heaven was brought down to earth, and his grandfather, who is a very influential person, told him to jump on a plane. When he got to Israel, there was a taxi waiting for him, took him straight to the hospital, and there was an expert that did a surgery, 3.5-hour surgery. The reason I told the story in Shabbos is that this doctor, Dr. Vigler, his brother's a shliach right here in Marine Park, had a problem. About 10 years ago, there was investigative journalism in Israel, and a covert patient came to the doctor, and the doctor suggested he should put on film. And it was all over the press in Israel, and he almost lost his license to practice in Israel. It's such a crime. It could not be a bigger crime. I mean, this guy is a world-renowned expert in what he is doing. Like, Israel needs doctors like this. But they would forgo a doctor not to have such a criminal in their country. But at the end, things quieted down, and he continued practicing in Israel.
And he's still asking people.
So the shliach, so while he's doing the surgery, he tells the shliach, "Do you remember me?" He says, "No, I don't know you." He said, 10 years ago, when I was in hot water, you sent me an email congratulating me for being in trouble and telling me how much you took inspiration for what I just did." And Shliach said, "Wow, I don't remember 10 years ago. Whatever, I saw the story, and I sent the doctor like chazak, minis chazek, to strengthen his hands that are doing mitzvahs." And it turned out that 10 years later, this doctor was operating on him. Baruch Hashem, his hands were saved. So yeah. He came to New York. While we're learning this Perek in Tanya, or while I was preparing, the Sikha on this Perek Tanya, which was 2 weeks ago. We end up only talking about it today, but 2 weeks ago I learned the Sikha. And Shkocha Pratis, he calls me, he says, I want to go to the oil, but I have to go to the mikveh. The doctor said, B'shum oifen, should not, the hand, until it fully heals, cannot go into water. So his question was, would it be of any value to go into the mikveh and just keep his left hand sticking out, or whatever it was, the right hand?
Left.
Yeah, that he should stick out his hand, that at least 98% of his body is in the mikveh. Does it count for something? So I said, look, the Rambam says a person that tovels, even if it's baktana sticking out of the water, it's kilo loy tovel klal. It's zero. It's not the pshat. There is a problem in the tvila. It's as if you didn't tovel altogether. So it's really not an eitzah. It's not an eitzah. Not an eitzah. The Rebbe says, L'choyre, I don't understand. The din is, if a person has a chatzitza, the guy was tarred and feathered. He was in the south, tarred and feathered. 98% of the man is covered with tar. He doesn't care. Eine makpid. Mina teure rube ve'ene makpid. Eine choitzitz. Chacham said it's a chatzitza. That's why women is always getting ready for tefillah. She's doing all kinds of preparations to take for the chatzitza. Less a miut she'ene makpid. But mina teure, if it's eine makpid, even if it's rubai, it's nothing. The guy is tarred 98%. He's tarred and feathers, just his eyes. You can see. He goes to the mikveh min ha'torah. It's a kosher tefillah. One finger is out. It's clean like a whistle. One finger etzba k'tana is out. It's not a tefillah. There's a big difference here. When a person has to tovel, 100% of the body has to be immersed in the water. If there's a little bit of the body is not immersed in the water, he's not tefillah. He's not tovel. He's not botal. He's not in the water. Chatzitza, if the Torah, the way the Torah views the tar and feather that's on you, if you're not makpid, so then it's nothing. It's like it's an extension of your skin. So therefore, the water is it's if the water is really touching your skin. If you're not makpid, it's nothing to you. So it has no chashivas to you because mina Torah has no chashivas. So it's as if the water touched your body. So there's a din in tvila, and there's a din in chatzitza. We say in Tanya Perek Memtes on Shar Yechad B'Mun Perek Zayin, the Eibishter is everywhere. That's mitzad the Eibishter. It's a din in the Eibishter. It's not a din in everything. It's a din in the Eibishter. The Eibishter is everywhere. You can't limit the Eibishter and say the Eibishter is here and the Eibishter is here, but the Eibishter is not here. Page 190.
Not in the bathroom.
Page, you have to say not in the bathroom. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't go into the bathroom. Not nice. He just peeks from the keyhole. You can't say such a thing. You can't say such a thing. It doesn't like Perek. You can't say such a thing. The Eibishter is everywhere. Mole, everywhere. The Eibishter is everywhere. But that's a din in the Eibishter. The Eibishter is everywhere. You can't say the Eibishter is here and not there. The Eibishter is everywhere. It's a din in the Eibishter. It's not a din in those things. But by a Yid, when we say the Eibishter is by a Yid, that's the Yid's Metzias. That's me. My neshama is Yud Kei Vav Kei Kechelek Hashem Amoy Yud Kei Vav Kei Yaakov Chevel Nachalosei, like a rope that could say Echad Lamayla, but could say Echad Lamata. That the Yud Kei Vav Kei, my Metzias. What? Who am I? My fingers, my nails, my neshama. So my neshama is Yud Kei Vav Kei. So Yud Kei Vav Kei is my Metzias. If I sinned. So I made a disconnect. I made a disconnect. So we're not talking now about the dinner tvila. Everything is the Eibishter. But the question is there a chatzitza now? We asked if there's a chatzitza now. Is there a chatzitza? Yeah, there's a chatzitza. There is a clear chatzitza. We're saying that the person cut off. He's totally cut off. We said that he's cut off, so there's a chatzitza. So how could you tell me that still that the metzias of the person is Yud Kei Vav Kei? You just told me that he's really cut off. Alter Rebbe wants to say a chiddush that when a yid sins, not only the Eibishter is everywhere because it's a din in the Eibishter, it's a din in me, in my metzias. The Eibishter is mole in me, not only mitzad the Eibishter, mitzad me. It's my metzias. Well, you just said I'm cut off. Am I cut off? Or this is the dichotomy. It is both true at the same time. This is the chiddush. This is the gewalt. This is the awesome thought that both are happening simultaneously. And to say such a chiddush, the Alter Rebbe wants to bring rayas. He brings 4 rayas for it. And the Rebbe's father says that the 4 rayas are connected the yud, the hey, the vav, and the hey. That's why he wants to bring 4 rayas. And the truth is, you have to understand how could you telling me that the Eibush is everywhere, like Tvila, the Eibush is everywhere, but it's not only din in the Eibush. When a person sins, the Eibush is still part of me, mitzad my mitzias. But I'm cut off. What does that mean, even? But the Alter Rebbe wants to bring a proof, so he brings a proof from 4 psukim for this. The bottom line is because it's not a chatzitza. Why is it not a chatzitza? Because Torah says the guy is 98% full of tar and feathers. You can just see his eyes. He's smiling. He got out alive. They lynched him. They put tar and feather. His eyes. That's it. You can see his eyeballs. He's happy. He doesn't care about the tar and feathers. He got to mikveh. He's happy to go to the mikveh now. He's alive. Why is it not a chatzitza? Because it's meaningless to him. So because it's meaningless to him, it's not a choitzitz. The water, it's as if it's touching him. Because if it's meaningful to him, he's planning to take soap and he wants to wash it off, then it's a chatzitza. But if he says, I like it, it's not a problem. I'm not makpid on it. So by the Eibishter, there's no dova choitzit by the Eibishter. It's not a person. The person, what do you mean? I'm moichel myself. I did it. Can I say such a thing? It's against the Eibishter's rotz. So I'm going to say Chaman dilim beinechem lebein elekechem. I cut off between myself and my neshama. It's not the Eibishter who's the Baal Rotzen. The Eibishter, why am I cut off? Because the koitza shel yud is the Eibishter's rotzen. From there flows the energy into the yud and the hey and the vav and the hey. So when the person goes against the Eibishter's rotzen, so he disconnects and he cut the rope. He disconnects himself from the yud, the hey, the vav and the hey. Disconnected from the koitza shel yud. So he's disconnected. That's mitzad the person. There's a chatzitza is always between me and you, and there's something else in between. I can't see you. There's something else. But mitzad the Eibishter, there's no something else. Even the Eibishter is rotzen the mitzvahs, but the Eibishter is the bala rotzen. Not chas v'shalom that the rotzen the mitzvahs is not so important. So the rotzen the mitzvahs is very important. That's the atzmis. We believe that mitzvahs is the atzmis rotzen, but still the Eibishter is not in a box. And he's the Balarotzen. So therefore, Mitzad the Eibishter, there isn't a blockage. So the Metzias of the Yid, it's not only the Eibishter is everywhere. Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. That's we know already. That we know Perek Memtes and Tanya, we know Perek Zayin Shariach V'Muna, that Hashem is everywhere. That's a din in the Eibishter. Now we know that even when a person sins, and the person, l'chayr, is disconnected, but that's his perspective. But the Eibishter is still connected in the Metzias of the Yid. That's why it's still possible that this Yid who's disconnected will have Hiru Tshuva and will do Tshuva and be reconnected. As long as he's alive, he can do Tshuva. And we'll say soon that after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, it's possible for Yid to leave even after 50 and 60. And there's one good thing, because as long as he's physically alive, he can still do Tshuva. Why is he still doing Tshuva? He's already cut off. Because even though he's cut off, but the Eibishter is really still there. The Eibishter is there, and therefore he wants to bring forward eyes for this. What are the 4 ayahs? So I'll just go through very quickly. The Rebbe's father said the 4 ayahs is like this. The first ayah is for the Yud. It says, in general, there's the male and the female. Yud is the male, Hey is the female. Then the Vav and the Hey, the Vav is the male, the Hey is female. The male is Adam, what's Adam and Chava. Then the Eibishter took off Atzela. The male has in it both. And the female is just the female. So when he wants to bring a eye that there's ein shum davar, kocham amish, that there's ein shum davar, gashme v'ruch nachoitzes l'fanu yizborech. So for the Yud, he says, as Shemaim v'esa oretz, ani moloi. Ani mamish, the Eibishter. Then he wants to bring a raya for hey, which is the nekeva. Umola kol oretz kavoide, which is oretz. Oretz is female, not shemayim. For the yud in the hay, he brings a raya from Sukkim, which is Hanestoris Hashem Alakeinu, because Torah Shabbat you wouldn't know. It says Tai Shartam Loisei Dach Vel Tavas Menachem. You know what it means. Without Torah Shabbat, you know nothing. You know zero of what it means. So he brings two psukim for Hanestoris Hashem Alakeinu, for the yud and the hay, and then for the vav and the hay, he brings an ayah from Maimorech Chazal, which is Haniglas Loner Levanenu. So he brings one Azoyer V'Leisa Sar Ponum Enei, and he bring within the Zoyer there's a ayah from the pasuk B'Shemayim Amal V'Loretz Metochas. Again, Zo is Zocher Benukfa, so therefore the Shemayim and Oretz. But by Chochmam Bina, the Zocher and the Keva are very close. Nivru Shavim B'Krimason. So therefore it says the Shemayim Be'esa Oretz and Imoli, they're equal. But in the Vav, it's Shemaim is Memal and the Oretz is Metachas. And then the fourth raya is V'yo Memal Kol Almin, which is again not mentioning Shemaim Oretz, is only talking about Oretz. And that's talking about the final hay. And he didn't bring a fifth pasuk for Koitza Shal Yud, because the Koitza Shal Yud never gets disconnected. Koitza Shal Yud is always connected. So this is an unbelievable thing that even though we say the person gets cut off, but be'emes it's only mitzidoi he gets cut off. Obviously the Eibishter is everywhere, but the chiddush over here is that the Eibishter is still the etzem metzius of a yid, and therefore the yid could still do tshuva.
You say that the person, even after you die, you could add some born. That
stays exactly. The etzem stays.
That's the yud. That's the concept of yud that stays.
Yeah, maybe. Look at the brackets. Mashkos of Hashem Arizal. And he said that after a person gets cut off, he can't live anymore. Belamai, there's a Rishima that stays that he can live till 50 or 60. Like in the mashal that I'm saying, the person was flying because he cut off the rope and he's flying in the Grand Canyon. It takes 20 minutes till they get to the bottom. So that 20 minutes he's alive, but it's the same thing. The person can live 50, 60. That this person, the makav, the neshama goes into him. So the Alter answers, it's not talking about the gashmis of the guf. It's only talking about the ruchnis of the guf. It's not talking about the gashmis. And because, as we said, the person could still do tshuva. So because the makif of the neshama is still connected, so the makif of the neshama shines into the person, and the person gives him the power to do tshuva. But any gashmis aguf has nothing to do with the gashmis aguf. Umayri, that Rizah was talking ad nun shana until 50 or 60 years. Come on, as we'll explain later. So while he's still alive, why would he do tshuva? You're saying he's disconnected. So just like physically he's disconnected, spiritually is disconnected. So physically is disconnected, but the makif of the neshama is not disconnected, and that shines in the person and gives him hirurei tshuva and allow him to have ava nida and to allow him to do tshuva and reconnect again. This is the conclusion of Perek and Tanya. In one word, Perek and Tanya is the story of the cliffhanger, and the guy that cuts the rope and he goes flying. It's not like you say, "Oh, it's not fair. He just cut the rope." But that's just the way a yid is. The yid is very different. Like we spoke about it last year, it's a different machine. The Jew and the Goy is a very different type of machine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Nakuda of Perek and Tanya. Omnom Perek Vav Omnom Zav Zman Shoy Yisrael B'Madrega Yona. This is when Jews were in a very high level. Shoy Shechina Shoy B'Yisrael B'Beis Hamikdash when the Shechina was resting among the Jews in the Beis Hamikdash. Then they didn't get their physical life to their body only through the nefesh halakis. The guys that they physically got was only coming through the nefesh halakis, and it only came from the pnimis hashefa. It only came through the yudei vavei. Once the Jews fell down from their level, and they caused that there should be the secret of this travesty of Golas Hashchina, which the pasuk says,
doesn't mean like the final
No. It means in general. When the Churban Beis Hamikdash, these contractors, he says, "Zeu bisman sheyisrael b'madregel yoina bebeis Hamikdash." But as soon as there was the Churban Beis Hamikdash, really, Apitoidus Asoid is not just that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. It was that instead of being Gilui Hashchina, now there is Golus Hashchina. The opposite of Gilui Hashchina is Golus Hashchina. And it's what's the connection? What do you mean with Pishcham Shulchan? Pashup Pshat is that a kid goes into a store and he breaks a bottle of olive oil. So who are they going to charge for the $9.99? They're going to schlep the kid's mother. Where's the kid's mother? Your boy chick just broke the jug of oil. Pay up to $10 for the jug of oil. So he's saying that that because of the pshaim of the Eden, therefore, obviously the Navi is alluding to something. Who is there's the Jew and there's the mother of the Jew. What is the nimshal? In the Chassidus we say aim. So is the female, which is the second hair, the lower hair, which is Malchus. So because the Jew is connected to the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Neshama is connected in heaven to the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So when the Yid goes into Golus, the Hei Eloah, the Hei Tator, right? Saying Eloah means the heavenly Hei. The Hei Tator, the heavenly Hei of Atzilus, also goes into Golus. So Bepishchem Shulcha Imchem, just like when the child is connected to his mother, so what? It's not the mother's fault, but it's your child. So you pay up, you clean up. So same thing here when a Yid who's Neshama's Yud Kei Vav Kei. And Klal Yisrael, we're talking in general, Klal Yisrael, because when they went into Golus, also the Hei Tator went into Golus. The Hainu Sheyorda Hashpoa, B'chinas Hei Tator, Nas Kalil, that the Hei Tator was dragged down, the Nishtal Shlo Madregel Mata Mata, Shneslav Shashpoa, so Yud Svidis de Noiga. Now it was dragged in to the 10 Sfidus of Noiga, that it doesn't shine on its own. It only shines through the 10 Sfidus of Noiga, which is Klippa, even though it's a translucent Klippa. Kedusha could shine through it, but it's a Klippa. It covers over it. And through that, and Yud Sfidus, the Klippa is Hamashpiyas Shefa V'chais Al Yedem Azolos. Yud Sfidus, the Klippas Noiga gives the energy through the mazolas and through the constellations of Tzva Shemayim, the Asonim, and through the 70 angels, Shalayim, that are over the Tzva Shemayim. L'chol achai gashmu shebe'olam hazeh, gives energy to everything alive in the olam hazeh, v'gam l'chol hatzameach, and also to all vegetations, k'ayim v'azal, ein l'ch esav melamata, she'ein lo mazel malmayla, she'maka v'vayim v'gadel v'chulu. So now that there is Golus, Golus means that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. So instead of Gilui Hashchina, there was Golus Hashchina. The Jews dragged the Hei Tator that was revealed in the Beis Hamikdash, was dragged it into Golus. What does it mean it dragged it into Golus? That instead of shining on its own, it only has its influence on the world through the 10 Sfidus of Klippas Noiga. Now a sinner could get the energy of his body just like any other animal. It says in Tehillim, David HaMelech says that the sinners are like a behemoth. So what's the Pashup Pshat? The Pashup Pshat, ein shtik behemoth. Like a behemoth doesn't care, just, doides ala eitzim v'alavonim v'alatinik, and kill, and it wouldn't make a difference. But Nimshal Kabehem is the Alter Rebbe Taich, just like a behemoth. Could get its chayas through the 10 Sfidus of Klippas Noiga. It's still Klippa. So the same thing, the Jew could get it through Klippa. In other words, the Jew has a choice. It's like when the time of the Beis Hamikdash, when you need to plug in the appliance, there's only one socket for the plug. And that socket said Kedusha on it. So you could plug or you could unplug. You could live or not live. But that was the choice, live or not live. Plug in or plug out. But after the Churban Beis Hamikdash, there's two sockets. One says Kedusha and one says Klippa. You could plug in here. You could plug out. If you plug out, you die. No. You can go to the other plug, the one that says Klippa on it, and plug in there. The Rebbe asks, what do you mean? So for L'choda, if it's after the Churban, so every person, in general, the the kedusha of the neshama, which flows through the HaTeshuvah, is now in klipa. But there's a difference. A person has a bechira chavshis. It's like we say, there's a levush. We're talking about levush mastir or not so much mastir. For example, sometimes a person says a moshel, right? A person says a joke, a moshel. And then the people hear the joke and they laugh, right? So some people are getting the nimshul. And some people are just getting the moshel, not getting the nimshul. I'll give you an example. I think the other night at the supper table, something came up. It was last week, Malav Malka. I was telling the kids, I have a daughter who's named after her grandmother, Babi Chava. So I said, Bubby used to always say that it was they ran away from the Nazis. She was lucky; she took her son and she ran away. The Nazis came into Klimovich the next day, and all the Eden were wiped out. But they went from the frying pan to the fire. They went to Uzbekistan, and hundreds of thousands of Eden ran there, and Eden were starving. They were dying in the streets, kipshuta, from hunger. But Bubby had a whole trick. Alanga Maisa. She had a trick. She was always bread on her table, but not enough. But there was bread. She had 2 children. Her oldest kid was already born in Klimovich, my uncle. So she always used to say that. So that was the only thing they had was bread, and it was it's a Muslim country, so they had these round breads the Muslims bake, and they were called the lapyoshkas. And Bobby always said that she used to, for breakfast, lunch, or supper, she used to make a big soup, put on a lot of water, and she used to break up the bread, and she used to put it in the soup, and she used to put a little bit of salt. And it was delicious, the lapyoshka soup. And always she used to say, on the whole war, I was dreaming that after the war, I'm going to have as much lapyoshka soup as I want. And she always would say the same story with the same thing and the same laughter at the end. So I told the story. So then I asked the kids, so what's the point of the story? So the little kids, it's cute, the older kids, each one had something to say, like it's not when I'm not talking about the lapyoshkas. I'm not talking about, the younger kids said, wow, she couldn't even imagine what it means, a good Chinese dinner. Exactly. But versteht sich, I was trying to bring out, whenever I say the Lepioshkas, so all the kids who heard the story from me many times know what I mean. You're in your mind, your whole world is like, the biggest, she would laugh at herself. She would say, like, couldn't believe it, my biggest dream was that the Ken Ham Wiffel with Will from the Lepioshkas. So some people they get the mushel and they're laughing. Rabbit gesagt a Witz, but they're getting zero the nimshel. Some people are getting the nimshel more or less. There's a huge difference. The person that just hearing the joke, oh, the rabbi said a good joke, and someone else who understands it's a mushel, maybe understands more or less, but sees that it's not a joke. It was there was a deep tension coming in the story and the joke. So Emma's talking that the HaTeshuvah is coming, the Malchus, which the Yud Kevavke of the Neshama flows into the body through the Hay from Atzilus, and now it's Bepishchem Shulchim that instead of Gila Shechina, there's Golas Shechina. But it doesn't have to be so dark. It doesn't have to be that a person takes his chayis in a way that all he hears is the rabbi's joke, and he has zero asaga that there is really a deeper point to it. But all Bobby they had no asaga that is good Chinese chicken. But it could be that a person should hear the mashal and chapla. So a person has as a bal bechida that he could see. That he could see the kedusha and that's in his neshama, even though it's going through the klipas noiga. But then a yid that Rahman al has a choice to just stick to the mashal, not to the nimshal kibul. So then his chayis is hemus nidmud. Diamond the base of mikdash wasn't possible. It wasn't a Jew is different than everything, even the Malachim of Hashem Elokim. The Shama is Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that's the way he lives physically. Physically lived. The neshama in the Jewish body was Yud Kei Vav Kei. So if he plugged out, so okay, it's like appliance. You plug it out, the blender still spins a few more times, but it's going to stop. The blender is going to stop spinning if you plug out the plug. But Bizman Hazeh, he has a choice. He could now take the plug and put it in, instead of Kedusha socket, he could put it into Klippa socket. So therefore he could live, and he can live for much longer. Alter Rebbe now really answered already the question. This already answers the question. Alter Rebbe asked, how come in the days of the Beis HaMikdash, when a person had Kodesh and Mishnah B'Shemaim, they couldn't live past 50 or 60, and Bizman Hazeh, we see that people are Chayav Kodesh and Mishnah B'Shemaim, they're living beyond 50 and 60.
The Alter Rebbe is talking Bias Rishon and Bias Sheni, or just Bias Rishon?
Probably Bias Sheni too.
Because he doesn't mention it, but outside.
He says Beis HaMikdash.
So both of them?
Yeah.
I know
So
that there were certain things Bias Rishon had.
that
This Bias Sheni in this case.
yeah.
But in this respect, we're saying it's the same thing.
Now the
The big faction of Jews during this different fights, they weren't for many years.
but it seems that's what Alter Rebbe brought Ayas before from Sukkot, that doesn't matter if they were over a thing which is Christus and Mrs. Best unplugged, they would die. Now, this is what the Rebbe goes into this whole thing, that perhaps that if it was something which is Misa B'dei Odom, and we say, Tosfos says, we see that people are Chayav Mrs. Best, and the Gemara says, don't worry, something's going to happen. But nothing happens. These are terrible people, and nothing happens. So Tosfos says, maybe the tshuva, maybe this, you can't find the Rebbe Shabbat Zachashbainis. So that's what we spoke about this a few weeks ago, that the Rebbe says, that's nice. That's for because there's a machlokes, how reward and punishment comes. So if you say that there's a big chart, and if a guy gets enough brownie points, he goes to Gan Eden. If he gets he gets enough checks, he goes to Gan Eden. Enough X's, he goes to Gan Eden. So Kemazogim was toys for Sanford. If you hold that it's natural, so a person cut off, he's going to die. What's he answering? Because the Rebbe Shemot Cheshboinus. So the Rebbe says probably, even though the Alter Rebbe is leaning to say that that reward and punishment is a natural consequence, there are things. Mitzvah B'dei Bezdin is not a natural consequence. Bezdin goes and they do something. So for them, Zok Alter Rebbe Taki, you can answer what Tosfos says, that in the last 40 years, the second Beis HaMikdash, they said that there's so much Robo Ratzchonim, so they said, we're not going to deal with it. Let the Rabbanu Shalom deal with it, because it's just way too complicated. Because we're going to judge one, we're not going to judge the other. Sanhedrin stopped, so they gave it over to the Rabbanu Shalom. So if the Rabbanu Shalom didn't take care of it, so he had his cheshbonos. But it seems clear that the Alter Rebbe learns that Lagabi is something which is Krisis and Mrs. Beznam, and even until the last day of the second Beis HaMikdash, if a Yid was over Krisis and Mrs. Beznam, he couldn't live one day past 50 and 60. Bizman Hazeh they could. So what's the answer? The answer is because then they were living straight from the Yud Kei Vav Kei, and now he could get through the Klippa. But that still doesn't answer why people are living today, evil people are living pleasurable lives. So they should live past 50, 60. But why are they living such a good life past 50, 60?
Who says a good life?
I don't know. The Alter Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe said, Ben Ayimim.
You have a fancy car that's called a good life.
I don't know. You're right. But the Alter Rebbe is made. The Alter Rebbe says,
Meaning living a good life, they get chayes with the kids. That's what it
yeah, but Lapoil, they're living a good life in Gashmias.
Yeah.
Hanira Leinai, the Alter Rebbe is going to answer that's why the Alter Rebbe is going to say the Adirabah. The reason the Alter Rebbe says the Adirabah is the SSAs is the Alter Rebbe wants to explain why they're alive and why they're not just alive, they're wealthy, why they're doing well. So for this, the Alter Rebbe gives a hesber noisach. Then the hesber over here is going to be that the Jew has unbelievable energy that's coming to the Jew. If it's coming through the Klippa, so the Klippa itself gains an unbelievable amount of energy through that. So they give him chelik barosh. They're very excited that now the clipper that's coming, it's just like, a bank. If a person's me and you, so whatever, go to another bank. If you don't like me, go to the other bank. But if you are a customer and you walk in and they know that we're talking about $500 million, they do everything to retain you as a customer. They're not going to charge you anything. No charges. For you, we suspend all charges. Banking is free. Everything is free. We do transfers. Everything is free. Wow, everything is free? Yeah, everything is free.
You already paid for it.
by handling by the fact that you have $500 million sitting in their bank, they have a lot of toivas and off from this. They take they invest in loans or whatever. It's a good for they. It's a good. So Mamela, they treat you very well. And they're very nice to you when you walk into the bank, and they have a special assigned banker for you. But if one day you will, all of a sudden you go from $500 million to $5, you're not going to have a special banker sitting for you, and they're not going to be treating you with white gloves. So it's the same thing over here. The klippas, the Yid is getting his $500 million through the bank called klippa. He's starting to use the black bank in the black market, and the klippas are thrilled. They love it that the Yid is now using the Swiss banks. So Switzerland, Rebbe Yomin, right?
Shimon.
Oh, Shimon. I'm sorry, Shimon. It's a dig for the Swiss. So now he's getting his wealth through the Klippa bank. So the Klippa's thrilled. So they give him the white glove treatment. Now eventually they're going to spit him out in a terrible way. Right now, they treat him really nicely, and that's why not only does he live past 50, 60 years, but Dafke in Bani'imim. So Taka, the way you said is Yena Bani'imim, because it's a Zachem Vei. But Lapoil Begashmis, it's Bani'imus. Adarabah, let's read it quickly. Yes, it says, Yes, Yois Apim Mavur Mezoira Kodesh Pashas Pekude, Shkol Shefa Vachais, and Shpoim Lodem Tacht, Shah, Perek Shoysa Rabba in Hashem B'maisa Dibra Behure Aveda. That the Zohar says that all the energy that comes to the person at that moment that he's doing the evil in Hashem's eyes, thought, speech, or action, it's all coming to him through the den of Sitra Achra, he has a choice. The energy that has to come to him, he could plug it in and plug A or plug B. He could take it from the Yecholos HaSitra or from the Yecholos Kedusha. Shem Nishbam Kol Machshavas HaToivos VaKedushas. So he has a choice. Kizelom Azalakim, man and monkey. Ve'Yecholos HaSitra Mekablam VeYonkem Chiyus Meslapshus VeYishtalshus HaShef Yitzviris Denoga Kul B'chenes Toiverab B'chenes Eitzadas V'chulu. Now the Yecholos HaSitra are getting the energy from the Yitzviris Denoga, which because of the Chet Eitzadas it could run from the Esesfilis Denoiga through Sitra Achra. So therefore, Adarabah, they're thrilled, and they give him an unbelievable type of ashpa. When a person does tshuva, as we'll say at the end of the Perek, so then he brings back. That's why it's Toshuv Hey. Toshuv hay, the Zohar says the word he takes the hay which he dragged into Klippa, and Toshuv, he brings it back. The Yud hay Vav hay in Atzilus, so he dragged the hay into Klippa, and now Toshuv hay Tshuvat Torah, he brings the hay back L'mkoima. But at this point, I'll already answer the question. Again, there's two parts of the question. That's why it's two parts of Perek Vav. Why are they living past 50 and 60, and why is it Bani'imim? As the Rebbe says, that even though it's a negative, the fact that a Jew could live as after 50 and 60 and Bani'imim is a negative, but there's a positive, because as long as there's a pulse, of course, as long as the person is alive, there is still the Makiv, which is Chaya Ruchnim. There's, as we said before, that there is the Mitzad Eibusha, there's no Chatzitza. The Mitzad the Etzem and the Hashem is no Chatzitza. So even though he's cut off, that's in one direction cut off. It's an interesting dichotomy. He's cut off mitzad him, but his etzem metzias is still getlichkeit. Not only because the Eibishter is everywhere, but his metzias is still ayut kevovke, and therefore he can still do tshuva. And when he does tshuva, he'll live not only begashmius further, but he'll live beruchnius now, connected again to the yut kevovke. That's the mile of his manazeh. The sinish kefafalm yid could always do tshuva. So Mitzvah Shem, this month is a dynamic month. Next week, Tuesday night, we're having a Fabrengen. We're going to Fabreng with Rav Michal Zelikson, which is very nice. Always, you should know whenever this is my secret resource. If I have Shiloh, this or that, I always send them. Yeah, we had him here many years. We didn't have him ready for many years, so we can have him. And then the Mitzvah Shem after the week after that. The week after that is going to be Yutas Kislev. We're going to have 4 Fabrengens. So 4 Fabrengens. Thursday night, by the Tanya share, we're going to Fabreng over the Tanya. Then Friday night in my house will be a Fabrengen. Shabbos day will be a Fabrengen in basement Achamendel. And Motzei Shabbos, the Mitzvah Shem, Reb Nissen Lagziel, which is a terrific mashpia in Al Torah, will be Fabrenging and William Lava Malka in the Young Israel. So they shall help them. It should be Kechol Haaretz Kula Mashke.
Amen.
Motzei Shabbos. Not this. We're talking
2 weeks.
Right. Next week, Tuesday night of Fabrengen, and the week after Motzei Shabbos is the big Fabrengen. L'chaim. Motzei Shabbos we're gonna have Abdullah. We're gonna have him Lava Malka.
Enjoy.
Hopefully before that.
Yeah,
This Motzei Shabbos.
Hopefully it'll be a little fun.
About the rope. I remember we watching Kimat Fulche.
Yeah.
This. I'm gonna be tough. So what the motion from the rope. It's like you said, the guy in the Arabs wants to go over the Arab from the rope. So everybody on the other side clap the hand and you can make it finally, you make the place. So everybody is like, wow, and then he said, I'm gonna go back. Everybody want to sit on my shoulder? Yeah, no, you could do it. That means you don't believe in me. You have the semuna, but you don't believe me. You heard this?
No, I didn't know that.
David, thank you for joining us.
David, you got to
Very
happy to do it.
send us
Very
more
happy.
weather, please.
Hi, Chaim.
Those who are close.
Shkoyach, Rabbi, Shkoyach. Shkoyach, Rabbi Yochanan, for joining